when I think of summer kind of late spring cocktails, the first thing that my fiance and I always start to do this time of year is go out to our local tiki bar like a bunch of crazy losers who love tiki bars. But that said, the drink that I chose is called the Painkiller, which is why it's so appropriate. The Painkiller, like many great things in the world, was a drink that was stolen by a woman by a British man, made by the folks at Pusser's Rum. So the drink itself was actually invented by a woman named Daphne, Daphne Henderson. And she ran a place called the Soggy Bottom Bar. So the owner of Pusser's Rum actually used to be a patron of said bar and enjoyed these pain-killing cocktails that Daphne cooked up so much. They decided to try to sneak some onto their boats because, well, this is the British Virgin Isles where they were, and reverse engineer said drink, and then ended up copywriting it. So it is not a painkiller unless you are using Pusser's Rum. And I assure you, I have tried actually multiple times to make this without Pusser's Rum, and it just doesn't work. I can't really tell you why. It's just something about the way that everything goes together. You just end up with a better drink using this rum versus any other rum. And I drink a lot of rum. Anyways, the drink is obscenely simple. So I'm gonna make it a couple of different ways, because the traditional way you make in a shaker glass on the rocks, but I personally love making it as a blended drink as well. So let's get to the actual drink itself. And I'm gonna do this in reverse, which might seem a little bit weird to people, but I'll explain why as I'm going along. So the drink has the proportions of 2 to 4 to 1 to 1. I'm gonna start with the 1 and work my way up to the 2. I know that sounds backwards. The reason is I'm starting with the amazing Coco Lopez. Coco Lopez is cream of cocoa. This is actually another product that technically the only true one is only made by one producer, Coco Lopez. I'm pretty sure like Goya makes a knockoff, but I'm not gonna promote Goya right now. Anyways, the one thing that you encounter with cream of cocoa, if you are in a colder environment like I am here in Brooklyn, it usually comes completely separated and you have a really hard layer on top with a syrupy layer on bottom. So what I usually do is take a kind of double boiler situation. I just spoon the whole amount into there and then kind of double boil it, stir it up, pour it back in my can so that I'm ready to go. But since this has a tendency to separate and then solidify, I usually like to, at least when I'm in a colder climate, start at the bottom with this and slowly mix it with the acid, which is the orange juice, which is the other 1 ounce. Then we're gonna mix in the pineapple and then finally mix in the actual rum itself, give it a shake. And I find that way you have less of a opportunity for separation. So I'm going to do 1 large jigger's worth of the Coco Lopez. I like to use fresh squeezed as far as orange juice goes. You can use that which comes out of a bottle as well, but it's really obscenely easy when you're only doing like 1 ounce pours of orange juice to actually just use one of these guys. That said, I like to use pineapple juice right out of a can. I know, I'm so like highbrow, lowbrow, right? So I'm adding 4 parts. Then I usually just kind of give this a little bit of a stir at this point. Add my 2 parts rum. give this another little bit of a stir. Then I'm going to take the other part of my shaker. Fill it up with some ice. By the way, buy a separate ice machine. It's the greatest investment I've ever made in my life. So I pour this whole shebang down into here. Now at this point, I am technically done with the drink and can move on immediately to pouring this into a glass. They do recommend filling with ice a goblet, but if you want to class it up, you can use a nice tumbler or be really fun and fancy and use a tiki cup. And I'll go with the tumbler. You then want to garnish. I do a little bit of pineapple. Some nice Italian candied cherries. And a little bit of wedge of orange there. But then the most important part of this entire drink, do not do this without it, and only use fresh grated nutmeg. So that's one preparation, but you want to be a fun person like me, pour the rest right into the blender. Say hi to Carol the cow. You have a nice kind of blendy drink there. Do it with a slightly different garnish. So one fun thing that we love to do, and I have to do a shout out to our local bar called Superpower, which is just up no string from us here in Brooklyn. But we love to go there and get drinks regularly. And I highly recommend you all do this. Steal their little fun plastic drink ornaments so that whenever you have people over, you can look super cool. Anyways, what did I pair this with? Okay, before I completely lose my voice, I wanted to do this with something that, like this drink, was sweet but nutty and kind of round. And immediately I started thinking about cheddars, and one of my favorites is made by my favorite person, one of my favorite people. I have a lot of favorite people in Wisconsin, Chris Gentine of Deer Creek Farms. He made this incredibly sweet layered cheddar called Bat 17. And I gave him a call, and of course, Chris, being like the total overkill person he is, gave me way too much cheese. There's even more than that. I have like an entire second refrigerator. Thank you, Chris. Anyways, this cheddar was made for the Japanese market in particular, and it has a almost unnaturally sweet quality to it, but it just kind of revels in it. And I myself am not usually one who goes with something really sickly sweet as far as a cheddar goes, but in this case, it is just so refined, and the number of iterations that they went through to get this, it just works so beautifully. You can literally outright take this and just kind of use it as a garnish itself inside drink. I assure you, I've done this many, many times. and they go together amazingly. That's about it. I'm gonna drink these and then go pass out. I'm exhausted.
I am so happy that you were able to work your way through it and have our conversation. And I wasn't sure. I was, on the hinge, waiting, thinking you'd be able to make it, but wasn't sure if that would happen. And I'm so happy that you are. I've spent a fair amount of time in the British Virgin Islands, and there's a boat restaurant out there called the Willie T's. And they do painkillers, number 1, number 2, number 3, and number 4, and that's the number of ounces of rum. And you should make yours with a number 4, and then go nighty night.
If you really want to be fancy, you can do what all the cool kids do, and give yourself a floater right on top. Works particularly well with a frozen cocktail in particular. But yeah, be careful with those number 4s. That said, the number 4 still goes well with the number 17, but hey, I'm tired. I'm sorry, I can't make jokes anymore.
That's all right. That's all right. All right. Well, rest up, be safe there, and if you need to go ahead and head out. And I appreciate your drink. That was wonderful, as always, especially bringing in Chris's wonderful cheddar. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone.